Bajaj Finance. I think the management is addressing the press now.
Sparkling numbers on subscription side. I have a couple of questions. The first one, your book is very close to that 1 lakh crore mark, about 97,000 crore. 3-year CAGR 31%, 5-year CAGR 29%, much higher than what your peers have been doing. What I want to understand is that till when do you expect this kind of strong growth to continue? That is upwards of about 28 to about 31%. When does the growth start normalizing slightly? Or do you think this is the normalized growth for the business that you've been doing? And can you double that book in the next 4 years, just going by the growth that you've been doing so far? Next question is on the NIM outlook. I just want to understand what kind of margins do you foresee yourself? Now that you're listed, you'll be able to share some numbers on that front. And as banks are seeing a drop in their CASA ratio, down the line, do you expect that impact to come on your NIMs also, because it'll become costlier for you to raise funds from the banks also? In that case, what are the alternate measures in terms of the tweak to your borrowing mix that you're looking at? Final question, 7 years we've had Bajaj Finance, Housing Finance listed. I understand there was certain amount of, input that came from the regulator as well. You have another 2 subsidiaries, the life insurance, general insurance arm. The regulator there has been saying that companies which complete 10 years should look at listing. Which one out of those 2 and by when could we see, them getting listed, them coming public as well? Thank you so much.
Let me just start first by thanking our shareholders, our investors, and everyone that's contributed for this listing today of Bajaj Housing Finance. We are truly overwhelmed by the response that we are seeing over the last couple of minutes. I'll take the question on growth, and then Atul will take the question on margins. Those are the 2 relevant ones. We've had very strong growth, but this is in the background of a very strong, consistently growing economy. And if you look at credit cycles in India, we expect steady credit growth at 12 to 15% in the housing industry. And on the back of that, we are enthused that we can continue to grow strongly. The economy is showing very strong tailwinds, and that's what gives us this comfort. Atul will take the margin question.
See, we are a variable rate company. On a asset side, our assets are variable, which are largely linked to a floating rate, which is linked to our cost of funds, and the liabilities are also largely variable. So on a steady state basis, through the cycles, mortgage companies generally have a steady state margin. So we do not expect any impact on margins from the listing, whether positive or negative, because that was from a cost of fund perspective, because we had already been a highest rated domestic rated company, and our cost of funds are relatively quite competitive compared to the market. And with a variable rate asset size, the NIMs are likely to remain stable, like in case of all variable asset companies. We do not see the credit deposit ratios, what the question you called out on, if they are deteriorating further in terms of a mix. We have a healthy mix of bank borrowings and the money market in our book, and we expect it to continue.
And on the last question, if
yeah, we are talking about Bajaj Housing Finance. That we'll take that another time.
Thank you so much.
Hi, sir. Ankur Mishra from ET Now. First question to you, Mr. Bajaj, and come for the second question later. I want to ask that now that shareholders, the prospective shareholders have become shareholders now, and they have rewarded with you with the bumper listing. Now for them, what should they expect in next 1 to 2 years from Bajaj Housing Finance? Is there going to be any kind of a dividend? What kind of promises do you want to make for shareholders?
Well, we've just listed the company, as you said correctly, a few minutes ago, and we are thrilled with where we are. Shareholders should expect a business that grows with high quality, a high level of corporate governance, that brings the right blend of technology in this particular business, and sustained growth with high focus on quality of the business and a diversified book is what we look forward to building.
To you, Mr. Jain, I want to understand, you mentioned about the borrowing mix. It is from banks as well as other options. But with the kind of scrutiny and the new norms which is coming from Reserve Bank of India, can we expect some kind of change in terms of ratios, how you will be borrowing?
See, we borrow at a particular point of a time, looking at the market availability and also optimization of our ALM and optimization of our cost of funds. So there is no standard at a point of a time what happens. So the calls are taken by the treasury team on the market scenario. Like I called out to the earlier question, we do not envisage, given our rating and given the confidence of the lenders, which whether in the money market or in the banking space have on the overall Bajaj and Bajaj Housing Finance there. We do not expect the challenges to be there in raising the money, because regulators' requirement had been towards increasing risk weight to other category of companies, not the housing finance companies. So we don't expect a challenge in terms of maintaining the balance.
Thank you.
Firstly, I want to congratulate Bajaj for the listing. My question to you is, Sanjiv, that how do you assess the demand for affordable housing going, because it has been lacking with respect to the premium housing, and do you see the rate cuts will have an effect on this? And also what is the plan for the promoter holding, the long-term view? And my last question is that the merger of HDFC Limited and HDFC Bank, has it reduced the competition intensity on ground?
So I'll have Atul answer some of the operational questions, but let me say, as promoters and as promoter group, we are strongly supportive and highly confident on this business and this company. We know, as per listing requirements, within 3 years, promoter shareholding has to come down to 75%, and that is something that we will look to doing in the coming years. Atul, over to you.
On affordable, your question, see, given India, in recent parts, it is correct what you have called out, the premium housing growth had been higher than the affordable housing. But given very strong government focus on housing for all, very strong schemes what we have seen from the budget what have come, and on the ground demand from aspiring India, we believe affordable housing finance or affordable housing demand would be far more in the coming years as we go from here. That is where on affordable we are based. So rate cuts do not necessarily tickle the demand up, like we have not seen rate increases trickle down the demand. That's what we saw, because again, it being a variable rate business, I think the borrowers and the people, when they decide to buy a house, they know that the rates are subject to going up and down, because in India it's a full variable or a floating rate mortgage is what we run. So it's a part of the cycle. Generally, decision for buying a house is not deferred or not preponed because of the pricing in our observation.
And about the merger of it, has it reduced the competition on ground?
HDFC still is present in the mortgage space. So they have changed the corporate entity from an HDFC Limited. Now they do the mortgage business in HDFC Bank. So the situation remains there, and they remain one of the largest players in the mortgage industry even today.
सर नमस्कार, मैं सौरभ पांडे जी बिजनेस मुंबई से। सबसे पहले आपको ढेरों शुभकामनाएं आपकी कंपनी की शानदार लिस्टिंग पर। मेरा सवाल मिस्टर बजाज से, सर आगे बढ़ते हुए अगर कंपनी की ग्रोथ की बात की जाए, किस तरह से आप जो है कंपनी का ग्रोथ देख पा रहे हैं, और जिस तरह से आपने अपने स्टेटमेंट में कहा कि सभी को अपना घर मिलने का पूरा अधिकार है, कैसा विजन आप आगे बढ़ते हुए देख पा रहे हैं?
सेक्टर की जो ग्रोथ रही है और जो हम कमिंग ईयर्स में देखते हैं, तो दिस इज लाइकली टू बी 12 to 15%, विच इटसेल्फ इज वेरी स्ट्रांग. हमारी ग्रोथ रही है हायर देन दैट इन द लास्ट फ्यू इयर्स. इसकी कारण ये है, वन, इट्स अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ ए डिवर्सिफाइड book that we have built across multiple customer segments. Second, it is the way we leverage technology and data for a seamless customer experience in taking on a home loan. And third is the focus of the management to build a good quality long-term business. So, हमारे हिसाब से these are all ingredients that continue to be there.
अतुल जी, मेरा अगला सवाल आपसे है कि अगर बात की जाए कैटेगरी चेंज की, तो हम होम लोन से अब डेवलपर लोन्स पर भी फोकस रखना है, तो किस सेगमेंट में सबसे ज्यादा ग्रोथ देखने की उम्मीद कर पा रहे हैं?
देखिए, हम चारों सेगमेंट जो मॉर्गेज के बड़े सेगमेंट हैं, चाहे वो होम लोन है या डेवलपर फाइनेंस है या लीज रेंटल डिस्काउंटिंग या लोन अगेंस्ट प्रॉपर्टी, हम शुरू से ही सब सेगमेंट्स में रहे हैं. और जो क्योंकि हम हाउसिंग फाइनेंस कंपनी के तौर पर रजिस्टर्ड हैं, हमारा डोमिनेंट पोर्शन ऑफ बुक एज अ रेगुलेशन will be home loan and continues to be home. Is still also home loan and will continue to be home.
नमस्ते, मैं अनुराग सर। मेरा सवाल सर, जो करोड़ों रिटेल निवेशक हैं जिन्होंने आपके आईपीओ में सब्सक्राइब करा और उनको रिवॉर्ड भी मिला, तो उनसे जुड़ा हुआ होगा सर, उनको किस तरह का आप भविष्य से जुड़ा हुआ आश्वासन दे रहे हैं? और आईपीओ के दौरान सर आपके द्वारा एक जो बात कही गई थी वो काफी लोगों ने पसंद की, रिटेल निवेशकों ने भी पसंद की कि भविष्य की आप एचडीएफसी बनाना चाहते हैं बजाज हाउसिंग फाइनेंस को। तो सर उस लक्ष्य के लिए जो ग्रोथ के टारगेट है आपके किस तरह के होंगे, किस रफ्तार से आप बढ़ेंगे? दूसरा सवाल सर इस जवाब के बाद।
तो उसमें मैं यही बोलूंगा कि जो रिटेल शेयर होल्डर्स आए हैं, वी आर वेरी ग्रेटफुल टू देम, एंड हमारी कोशिश यही रही है टू बिल्ड ए हाई क्वालिटी बिजनेस गोइंग फॉरवर्ड, एंड we look forward to having you with us as long-term shareholders like you have been in so many of our other companies.
Okay, well, it's the same question in different formats and different languages. What is the growth rate that Bajaj Housing Finance can deliver? Well, we don't have very straightforward answers in terms of numbers and numerics from Mr. Sanjiv Bajaj, but it's been a phenomenal listing, 122% on the upside, and a promise that the business will continue to grow at a steady clip.